All right, guys, looks like we are live across the board. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Live. So, okay, we're getting some people jumping in. Z McNall. Custom Weld. Man, they're kind of rolling through on Instagram. So, let's see. Nobody from Facebook or YouTube is chiming in, but it does say we've got 5 viewers on Facebook, 3 on Instagram. All right, so people are jumping in. Game changers in the house. Freddie, what's up, brother? So, Steven, I'm in, saying a quick hi, brother. Caleb Newton, how you doing? Garrett Weaver, what's up, man? How you doing, guys? So, all right, so we're getting some people jumping in. I know this is a little out of the norm. Robert Cly, how you doing? This is a Thursday night. I know it's not the typical Wapiti Wednesday live Q&A, but you know what? I got this new Bugle tube sent to me, and I just thought, you know what? I have not done a live intro and review, so decided tonight, you know, what the heck, why not? Barn and Beam, how you doing? Mountain Tough Outdoors, how you doing, brother? So Taylor Shelton, good evening. APA Pro, hey from Canada, thanks for tuning in. So, and Matt Mello, hi from CA, it's been a while for me, sorry. Yeah, ready for the Velvet to start dropping. Chuck Stone, Greg Slinker, Game Changer. I still see you have the funny face on. Good to see you again. Freddie, appreciate it. I can always count on you to come in and just set the tone right. So 502 to the 406. Hello, Matty Lux. How you doing? About time. I know. I've missed you guys. So this past year has been extremely tough for a lot of you that have followed the journey. Things are definitely getting better. I mean, you know, hey, elk season's right around the corner, right? So here before long, we will be out chasing bugles on crisp mornings. It is coming fast, and I cannot wait. So tuning in from Idaho, Mike Hita. How have you been, Mike? Hope all is well with you and the family. Jennifer Lloyd, my first time on live, but love your content. Jennifer, thank you for tuning in for the first time. So, yeah, so like I said, this one's going to be a little bit different. Joshua Martinez, Michael, good to see you, brother. It's almost hunting time. I know, guys, it is here. And you know what's funny is I honestly, God, the time has slipped by, and it wasn't until I actually went in and changed, turned in the slips in Idaho and got the actual tags. And it wasn't until I got those actual tags in my hand that things started getting really exciting. And then, a couple of days ago, a buddy of mine called me and said he had access to some landowner tags and asked if I'd be interested in a extra cow tag. So said, heck yes, why not? Good opportunity. It's a good friend of mine that I've wanted to spend time with in the mountains and hunt with. So great opportunity to hunt with him. Going to be a little interesting. It's a rifle cow hunt that runs August 1st through October 31st. We were kind of talking last night about when we were going to go. Obviously, September, no way. So I'm starting to hear them bugles in my dreams. Same here. I'm actually starting to have dreams too. So, all right, Mountain Top just got my camo in the mail, I assume. Yeah, the scree gear. So, great gear. So, I get my bow back tomorrow, and I'm so excited to get started sighting in and hunting with it. Very nice. So, yeah, I still need to pick up broadheads and start shooting with those, but plan is August every weekend to be in camp. So do some scouting. Got some new areas that I want to hike in that we saw last year that didn't get into. So, all right, so we've got several people on. Let's just go ahead and jump into this. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit different tonight. I'm going to do a reveal intro of a new bugle tube that just hit the market, and also do a little bit of review on it, do some calling on it so you guys can hear. And, you know, also since I'm live, so, you know, if you guys happen to, God, throw some questions in there, I might actually answer them. So Cody McCarthy, Tooth of the Arrow. Cody, I actually have some. I used them on an antelope hunt 2 years ago. Great head. This year I'm actually testing the Annihilator broadhead is what a couple of us in camp are going to be testing this year to run them through the paces. See how they do, see how they perform. So, all right, let's jump into it. So, for those of you that haven't seen on Instagram, there's a new company out. It's called Liberty Game Calls. It is Damian and Marissa Pagano. Both of them are world champion callers. Damian has won in the men's division. Marissa has won in the women's division twice, I believe. So they kind of branched out on their own to kind of start kind of getting calls designed or developed based on what they like. And so they just came out with this new Grunt, this new bugle tube. Like I said, they sent it to me, and it is called the Revolution Bugle. So this is it right here. Couple of neat features. It is pretty dang compact. The lanyard on it has some quick adjustments, so you can adjust the length on those. It does also extend out, but the nice thing is too, it has really soft cups on the end. Benefits of that, if you want to on the big end, you can actually take that and you can actually compress that down. What it does, it kind of softens your sounds a little bit, makes you sound just a little bit farther away. So, Nick Warwick, Annihilator for the win. Love my 100s and 125s. Yeah, I'm going to be shooting the 125s. By the way, good to see you, sir. Nick, thanks for tuning in tonight. So, okay, the one thing on the soft that I really found, it is really, really comfortable. It does capture sound really, really well, transfers it through. As far as back pressure goes, it's one of those things that you do have to build on your own, but it's not too terrible on this. I was surprised on the weight of this. I actually put the Renegade grunt tube from Phelps on the scale, and that weighed 11 ounces. This one weighed 12 ounces. But the features of this, where this is a lot more packable, this is something that you could easily throw into a pocket on the pack, that it is extendable, has some nice features to it. So let's just go ahead and I'm just going to do some calling on it, just so you guys can hear what it sounds like. So first off, I'm just going to do a few cow sounds, and I'm going to show you with the end completely open and then with it compressed down or pinched down. So I have the end pinched down right now. With it not pinched. So it does allow good expansion of the cow sounds. Montana Lands, I came in too late and missed the brand. The brand is Liberty Game Calls. You can actually find them right there on Instagram. They do have a page. They also not only have the bugle tube, but they have a couple of diaphragm reeds that they built with Native by Carlton. So, okay, I'm going to do some bugling on it now. I'm going to leave it short at first. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and extend this out. And then just like on the cow sounds, now I'm going to do a couple of bugles where I'm going to pinch that end closed. Okay, so there's just an idea of some of the sounds that you can produce on this. Here's a few features that I see that are advantages on this. One, like I said, small, compact, folds up. The other nice thing is too, for a lot of you solo guys, you can actually, attach this onto the pack so it rides underneath the arm. And then at that point, you can just, basically pull it up and call on it, let it go. So that way you're still directional. You're able to point that, behind you. So I do see a lot of advantages for solo guys with the Revolution. For those that run caller shooter scenarios, it is nice because have the compact, you can stretch it out, you can change direction of it, so you do have some nice options with it. It's made really, really well. It is constructed out of good solid material. It is a solid bugle tube. Pretty excited to give it a test out in the woods this fall. It's one of those things that any of you that really know me, you guys know that I am a tube junkie. I don't know, if there's a new tube on the market, I got to have it, got to try it, got to find out what it sounds like. Usually, in fact, Mountain Tough Outdoors, what's your go-to tube? I have a blue bag that I just throw a bunch of different tubes in and a bunch of different reeds in, and my hunting partners know that when I get to camp, in fact, Busted Knives, Kelly's already saying, yep, they know that all they have to do is come over to my tent or my trailer and look for that blue bag, and there's just an abundance of tubes to grab. There's reeds to snag and try. So my go-to, I mix it up. Last year I called on that Power Bugle Pro quite a bit, only because the first part of the season where I burnt the roof of my mouth and couldn't put a diaphragm reed in my mouth, I had to use the external reed bugle. But even throughout the season, I popped the mouthpiece out and just used it with a diaphragm reed. There was a prototype tube that I hunted with last year. It's still in prototype, hasn't gone into production yet. Going to test it again this year. Of course, the Extreme Bully Bull is a good one. The Wapiti Whacker from the Rump Shaker from Wapiti River Outdoors is another one I really like. The Renegade has good sound. The Unleashed has good sound. Those are all tubes that I really like. Generally, I go with the wiffle ball bat style tube just because I like the expansion that it gets. I like the depth that it gets. It's pretty hard inside here to hear exactly what that Liberty is going to do. I do need to get out in the sticks and actually record some sound files with that actually out there so you guys can hear what it sounds like on the hill. But most definitely, head over to Liberty Game Calls. Check out the tube. They do have them available along with the couple of new diaphragm reeds. I also think they have some contests going on to where you can name some of the new reeds, and they will, I think they have contests going on too. So let's see, been working on my calling in the backyard. My neighbors have yelled at me a time or two. It is that time of year. It is definitely that time of year. So all right, let me see if we've got any questions pulling in. I see Scree Gear just jumped in. If you guys have not been going to the Scree Gear Instagram page or any of their social media to check out their sales lately, you guys are really missing out. So great time to pick up gear. So, okay, we got that, we got that, we got that. Give it a blow, let's hear it. So, Jacob, yeah, I missed that one. So, all right, so guys, there is the Revolution Bugle. What are your thoughts? What do you think of it? Does it interest you? So, Extreme Bow Hunter 123, are you still doing the calling lessons? Yes, I am. Actually running lessons right now, Monday through Thursday nights. Time slots are 5:15 and 6:30. There's a few people jumping in. It's not filling up too bad, so there are open slots. If you are interested, just send me an email at michael@elkcallingacademy.com. We can kind of figure out what day of the week works best for you and what time slot. You don't have to live in the Boise area. In fact, I've been doing a lot more Zoom video conferencing on the lessons, and cool thing about that is you get a recording when you're done. So Brad Lowry, how you doing, bud? Let's see, 1964 First week of September, Montana, what elevation would be the most likely spot for elk? God, that is such a... There's so many variables to that question because it's really going to differ from area to area. You know, first part of September, in some areas, you could still have bulls still in their bachelor groups, still kind of living solo up high above tree line. Other areas, you know, it all depends on herd dynamics, you know, what the bull to cow ratio is. There's a lot of determining factors. So some areas, yeah, you may have bulls still in bachelor groups up high. Other areas, you may already have bulls that have broken up from the bachelor groups and they're kind of down cruising cows. Other areas may already have a few cows gathered up. So it's just kind of one of those things where, you know, each year it's just kind of a shot in the dark where you just kind of start low elevation, start gaining high, and they kind of, you know, they are where you find them. So it just kind of, like I said, varies from area to area. So I like a call made by primos, but need to buy 5 of them to find the one that sounds right. Am I doing something wrong? Jennifer, no, not at all. And in fact, a lot of times when that's not uncommon when you have companies that are so large that they mass produce so many diaphragm reeds that you do have inconsistencies in stretches. You can also have inconsistencies in the latex. Even though the latex comes off a roll that says it's 4,000 latex, you can still have some variations within that roll to where maybe some's a little thicker, some are a little lighter. So no, it's not uncommon to where, you know, you have to buy 5 of them to find 1 or 2 that are kind of similar. There are other companies out there that, you know, their build tolerances on the diaphragm reeds are a little stricter, and so you have a lot better consistency, you know, from reed to reed. So if you pick up 5 of them, all 5 are going to behave the same and sound the same. So I like the packability. Also, wouldn't be loud and glunking on gear, brush, etc. Good points. Good points. Like wiffle ball bat style. No, that Revolution Bugle, definitely packable, quiet. Yeah, you're exactly right. It's going to be dead when it does thunk because of the material that it's made out of. So put the miles in then. LOL. Thanks. Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, that's kind of how it is early in the season. Unless it's an area that you've been scouting. Or you have trail cameras up and you kind of have those patterns and you know where they're at, because elk most definitely can be patterned early in the year. So yeah, if you haven't had the ability to do that, yeah, unfortunately it's going to be, you know, put some miles on the boots and find them. And unfortunately they are going to be where they are. I know, like I said, August, going to kind of go up and check out some new areas that we kind of explored a little bit last year. Didn't really get into it a ton. There was a few tracks in there. This year going in those areas, just kind of on a razor ride and then a quick walk. Man, that place was littered with tracks. So, okay, so you're from Indiana heading out to Montana. So yeah, you don't have that scouting time. You know, the other thing that you can do is just pick up the phone and call the biologist in that area. Pick their brain. You know, see what they've been seeing in the area where you're going to hunt. You know, they can give you recommendations on, you know, elevations to hit, that kind of stuff. Biologists are a great tool to pick up the phone and call, and I think it's one of those tools that is really underutilized, that not a lot of people, you know, really pick up the phone and take advantage of that. So. Glenn, good evening, Michael. It's been a minute since I could catch you live. I know, it's been a minute since I've been live. I can't even remember, God, 2 months, 3 months. So, I don't know, been a little while. So, Nick, I love the wiffle ball bat style because I always have something I can use for raking in a pinch, using the Renegade myself this year, but used the Unleashed last year, and it worked awesome. Yeah, actually, the Renegade just won this year's Grunt Tube Challenge. Renegade received the most votes. The Rump Shaker from Wapiti River came in second, and I think third was the Extreme Bully Bull from, you know, Rocky Mountain. So that Extreme Bully Bull has been around a long time. I mean, it's just a true time-tested, grunt tube. It always has been, one of my favorites, one of my tops. And so, yeah, the rump shaker, I hunted with it 3 years ago. Just has an insane amount of bottom end. And I think talking to Travis a little bit ago, he's actually coming out with a smaller version of that. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. I would imagine that smaller version is going to be more in line kind of with that Renegade size. If I'm to guess, the Renegade Extreme Bully Bull, just something I'm guessing at. So, all right, guys. What other questions you got? I'll give you guys 10 more minutes here. So if you got questions, get them in. You got 10 minutes to throw those questions in. Also, too, over on our Patreon page at elkcallingacademy.com, we've still been going every other week with the live Q&A sessions there. Got some good videos over there about early season, inviting cow routines, got some e-scouting, and there is something that kind of we have in the mix right now that we're working with another company to kind of maybe partner with and kind of give a 2-for-1 double access type on both programs. So that's kind of still in the mix, but some kind of fun stuff coming up. So Joshua, I'm going in early October. I drew the first muzzleloader hunt this year. Okay, 1st of October or early October, you can still get some of that tail end of rut activity. You can still get some cows that are coming into estrus. A lot of times by that time, the big mature bulls have, effectively done all their breeding and they've pulled away from the herd. They've gone back into their bachelor groups or gone back into solitude and kind of started making their way towards their wintering grounds. And at that point, they're more focused on packing on fat to survive the winter. But you can still get a lot of good solid bulls that are hanging out with the cows and with the herd, just because there are still some cows that are coming into estrus late, and it's those other bulls' opportunities to do a little bit of breeding. You can get some good bugling activity. I mean, shoot, there's been times, here in the past few years where middle of October rifle season here in Idaho has started and bulls were screaming like it was peak rut in September. So you just kind of never know. So thoughts on doing exclusively lost calf calls? It's kind of interesting on the lost calf calls because you can play on the maternal instincts of the cows, but what's interesting too is a lot of times if you're in next to a herd that is bedded down, a lot of times it will be the bull that will respond first. And he doesn't always respond by bugling, he responds by coming, just because he wants to protect that calf. He doesn't know what's going on. He might think that it's a younger bull that's harassing that yearling calf, or this or that. So a lot of times, but also too, if you play on the maternal instincts of the cows and the cows come, that bull's going to follow too. But doing it exclusively, that lost calf is one of those sounds that it's not something that you want to run around the forest and do all the time. It is kind of a situational type call. If you wanted to set up and do a calling session and focus exclusively on that, I think you'd be okay. You just kind of, be aware of the story that you're telling, the picture that you're painting, and make sure that your setup is, it supports what you're doing there. So you think even if it's staying really hot late, does the rut start late or not really? No, not really, because it's the autumn equinox. It's that equal amount of daylight and nighttime, and how that photosynthesis of the eyes, or whatever the biological term is, it's how that light reflects off the pupil of the eyes, and that's what really triggers the rut. There are things that you can hear a late rut. That, yeah, there are some times where I see kind of a later rut going on, and I think that's more in areas that have a really hard winter predicted coming up. Those animals kind of know that they don't want to be dropping their calves too early, where snowstorms can come in and wipe them out, but also too, they don't want to wait too late to drop them, because then those calves won't gain enough body fat or size to make it through the winter. So Elk Whisperer, Close Hippie, how you doing, brother? Real quick, open reed cow call with the best results. You know, open reed cow calls, I am a fan of them. Couple of the ones that I use are the Native by Carlton line. That's kind of their high dollar line. The reason I like that one is it comes with 5 different reeds. You know, a white wide, a white skinny, a clear wide, clear skinny. So you can really adjust the tone on that. And, you know, you can really tune that thing to get the sound profile that you really like. Another one of my favorites is the Minnie Mouse from Native. It's basically the rework of the Fighting Cow Call, which, you know, that Fighting Cow Call has been, man, it's been in the Elkwoods for a lot of years and has called in a lot of bulls. You know, those are a couple of my favorites. Another one is the Matriarch by Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. Wood barrel call that just has really nice, soft, subtle tones to it. And then, of course, the Primos Hyperlip Double with the tone converter. That's one of those calls that I really, really like, especially for doing assembly mews. I think it really reproduces some of the most realistic tones out there. So, oh, dang, I always assumed the cold was what kind of got them going, but thank you. Nah, it's actually that autumn equinox. So, okay, here we go. Hold on, still have my Phelps tube. The one you demoed is definitely more packable, but missing that deep thump and the chunks and bottom end, chuckles and bottom end. But is pure money on throwing out cow calls. Yeah, Greg, it really does produce cow sounds really, really well. Ben Munoz, how you doing? You've sold me on the Hoffman boot over the Crispy. Thank you, much appreciated. Jonathan, you bet. The Hoffman is an absolutely, you know, wonderful boot. In fact, I'm excited for that 6-inch to get here and put that new 6-inch they just came out with to the test this year. Robert, is Andy Dansero going to be ready to call for me hunting season? Yeah, he is. We actually did some good work with him, Robert, on his bugling. In fact, Chelsea's coming over tomorrow for her next lesson. So, do you use the nervous grunt call and when? Yes, I do. The nervous grunt is one of those things that I think is an important call to learn, because the nervous grunt, it's basically an elk that's saying, I'm not comfortable with the situation. I don't think you're an actual elk. I think you need to present yourself. By you having that ability to throw it back at them, you are actually telling them the same thing. I've been in situations where I've had to use that nervous bark, nervous grunt. In fact, had a cow one time. I have video footage of where her and I grunt. You know, we just nervous bark back and forth for a good solid 15, almost 20 minutes. To the point where actually she was convinced we were an elk, and she actually just turned and walked right back in with the herd and bedded down. Had I not been able to do that nervous bark, there's a really good chance that she would have gotten nervous, turned and went trotting through the herd with her nose up in the air, which is a defensive posture, and she just would have taken that whole herd right with them, and our hunt would have been over for that day. So north-facing mountains, I've heard to hunt north faces because that's where they would bed down. Elk Daily, that is exactly right. That north and northeastern facing side of the mountain is typically your cool side of the mountain. It's generally about 10 to 15 degrees cooler than your southern and west facing slopes. Usually timber's a little bit thicker, a little bit darker, so that definitely is the sides that they will bed down on. You do want to go hunt on that side, but be careful. You don't want to just go rambling into their bedding area and blow them out of there, because if you do bump them out of their bedding area, there's a good chance that they may not come back to that same bedding area for several days, if at all, during the season. And if you just have a small window to hunt, you bump them out of that bedding area on day one, you're actually going to spend the rest of your hunt really locating other elk to hunt. So Brad Lowry, I found locating bulls with a bugle in October is effective, followed by a quiet sneak approach. I've never had much luck calling bulls in once rifles, muzzleloaders start firing. No, they know once they hear those rifles start going off, they know what's going on. I mean, especially, you know, elk that have been around a little bit. That's why a lot of times you'll see them immediately go into the safe zones, which a lot of times is private property. So, Greg, can you demo the lost calf? Yeah, it's basically, It's the same thing as that lost excited mew. Has a lot of emphasis on the high note, has emotion on it there. You can tell that there's an urgency and a panic within that call. So right on, brother. Thanks for the input. You bet. You bet. Brian, what bugle tube do you use? Kind of varies. Some of my favorites are the Renegade and Unleashed from Phelps, the Extreme Bully Bull from Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, the Rump Shaker from Wapiti River. Those are a few of the grunt tubes that I really like. And also the one I really liked and used quite a bit last year was the Power Bugle Pro. So the Power Bugle Pro is a tube they came out with a couple of years ago. I actually did put a bell end on it. It is a flexible call. The reason I use or like those tubes is just the depth and the tones that I get out of each of them, plus also the mouthpieces on them, how they work for me for lip balling. Everybody's a little bit different. Some people like the flared end of the Extreme Bully Bull. Other people like the small end of the Renegade or the original Bully Bull from Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. It's just kind of personal preference. So Robert Clyde, sweet. Thanks, Mike. You bet. So Jennifer, I picked up an elk shed last year and had it hanging on my neck, then called in the same 6.4 times in a row. Would that shed help him come in? Not necessarily. I think that was kind of more of a happen chance that it happened on that. I do know some people that will carry smaller elk antlers with them, and they use those when they rake. It does give realism into your raking because it is actual antler on the tree and replicates that sound really, really well. I've never done it because it's just one more thing to pack, and in all my years of chasing elk, I'm okay with, you know, picking a stick up off the ground. Although sometimes it's hard to find a good stick because you pick sticks up and you start raking and they just fall apart or snap or break or this or that, and you started with a good long stick, and the next thing you know, you have a little stub that you're using. So if you do find a good stick, sometimes I'll hang on to it and just use it as a walking stick, or my hunting partners can attest to it. When I'm back calling and if I'm working in an area, I will find a raking stick and I will lean it up against a tree, and maybe I'll have 2 or 3 of those in different spots back there where I'm calling from. And it's kind of funny because if we come back into that area the next few days, you can tell I've been in there because here's all these sticks leaning up against a tree. And these guys sometimes will give me a bad time about that I've been in that area. So what's the difference between a bite call compared to a diaphragm? So a bite call is something like this. This is the Pretty Maiden from Flexmark game calls where you bite, you use your teeth, where a diaphragm reed actually goes inside your mouth. So good to see you, brother. Always awesome getting great pointers. Are you going to do more live streams as it gets closer? I might. So great job. Find your info. Very good. Helpful out here in Alberta. Custom Weld, thank you very much. So, okay, I am getting low battery. So, we're going to wrap this up. So, thank you to all of you guys for tuning in tonight. Again, go check out Liberty Game Calls. Check out the Revolution Bugle and also their grunt tubes. Let them know Elk Calling Academy sent you in. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I will think about doing more live feeds as the season kind of gets closer. I'll think about it. Stay tuned. So as always, guys, keep calling, keep practicing. Most importantly, though, have fun. And we will see you guys on the next video brought to you by Elk Calling Academy.